What happens when a ruthless biker tries to humiliate the wrong woman in a crowded bar? In a single moment, his power crumbles when her hidden truth is revealed, and the entire room learns that real strength has nothing to do with fear. The biker's voice thundered through the smoky bar, deep and venomous. "Pay up, or I break bones!" He slammed his fist against the counter, the sound echoing like a gunshot. His leather vest hung loose over tattooed arms, veins bulging with rage. Bloodshot eyes glared at the modest young woman behind the bar. The dim lights flickered across his scarred face, each line telling the story of violence and cruelty. She stood there, tray in hand, her hair neatly tied back, a crisp white shirt tucked into jeans. A server, not a fighter. At least, that's what everyone thought. Her hands trembled ever so slightly, but her voice did not. "I already told you," she said, steady and firm. "I don't owe you anything." The bar fell silent. Every patron stopped in place. A glass froze mid-pour. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats, eyes darting away. They wanted no part in this storm. But the biker wasn't backing down. He sneered and stepped closer, his boots scraping against the wooden floor. "You think you can talk back to me?" he spat. "Around here, you pay respect, or you pay the price." From the shadows, his gang chuckled, pounding the tables in support, their laughter thick with menace. And then, without warning, he lunged forward. His hand shot out and grabbed her by the collar, yanking her across the counter. Gasps rippled through the bar as the sound of tearing fabric echoed. Her shirt split, threads snapping, humiliation hanging heavy in the air. She froze. For a moment, the world seemed to stop. Every eye in the room burned into her, some out of cruel curiosity, others with pity and horror. The biker's grin stretched wide until his gaze fell on her shoulder. There it was. Bold, unyielding, inked deep into her skin. The eagle, globe, and anchor of the United States Marine Corps. The grin died instantly. The gang's laughter choked off. The room, once buzzing with tension, went deathly still. Even the lights seemed to dim. Every man who had been smirking seconds ago now stared in stunned silence, their bravado collapsing. Her voice broke the silence, low, steady, filled with a dangerous calm. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." The biker's hand recoiled as if burned. He stumbled back, eyes wide. You're a Marine." She straightened her torn shirt, but didn't bother to cover the tattoo. Her eyes locked on his with quiet fury. "Once a Marine," she said, her voice cutting through the heavy air. "Always a Marine." The bar felt like it was holding its breath. The gang leader swallowed hard, the arrogance draining from his face. The men who had always followed his lead now stared at the floor, unwilling to meet her gaze. In a single moment, the balance of power had shifted. But she wasn't done. She stepped forward, chin high, every word slicing sharper than a blade. "I fought men twice your size. I've stared down worse than you in deserts you wouldn't survive a single day in. And you think tearing my shirt makes you strong?" No one dared to move. The bartender's hand froze mid-air, a glass slipping from his grip and shattering on the floor, but even the sound barely registered over her words. And then, from the back corner booth, an older man rose. He had been silent all night, watching. His movements were slow but deliberate as he rolled up his sleeve, revealing the same tattoo, faded with age, but no less powerful. His voice rang across the bar. "Respect the core." The biker's face turned pale. Two Marines, one young, one seasoned, and an entire bar watching. His gang shifted uneasily, their confidence bleeding out of them like air from a punctured tire. For the first time, they looked small. The woman turned to the crowd, her voice rising with conviction. "This is what bullies do. They prey on those they think are weak. But weakness?" Her eyes cut back to the biker. "That's something they'll never understand." Her gaze locked on him, sharp as steel. "You don't scare me. You never will." A hush lingered, and then clapping. One person at first, then another, until the entire bar erupted in applause. The sound crashed down like thunder, not for the biker, but for her. Red-faced, humiliated, the biker stumbled back. "This isn't over," he muttered, but his voice carried no conviction. One by one, his men slipped out into the night, swagger gone, leaving only shame in their wake. The woman pulled her shirt closed, but made no move to hide the tattoo. She stood tall, every inch of her radiating strength. The older Marine placed a hand over his heart and gave her a solemn nod. She returned it with a small smile, tears welling in her eyes but never falling. Because in that moment, she wasn't just a bartender. She wasn't just a woman who had been humiliated. She was a Marine, carrying a legacy written in courage and sacrifice. And everyone in that bar would remember it. The lesson hung heavy in the air. True strength doesn't come from intimidation or fear. It comes from honor, from resilience, from standing tall even when the world tries to tear you down. And as she walked back behind the bar, the crowd parted with reverence. The biker was forgotten, but her, she was unforgettable. True strength doesn't come from intimidation, cruelty, or loud threats. It comes from courage, honor, and resilience. Those who prey on the weak eventually discover that the people they try to break may be the strongest of all.